Willkommen zu einer neuen Folge von Max und die Supply Chain Helden. Heute hört ihr wieder eine englische Folge, die ich aufgenommen habe auf dem MDM Analytics Event dieses Jahr im September in Denver. Zu Gast ist heute bei mir der Anthony Akin, seines Zeichens Marketingleiter von der Firma IBT aus Kansas. Das ist eine Firma, die ist ziemlich ähnlich aufgestellt wie die unsrige, wie Ludwig Meister. Ähnliche Größe und auch ähnliches Produktsortiment. Warum ich viel gelernt habe bei meinen Besuchen bei IBT und wieso ich glaube, dass die eine gute Zukunft vor sich haben, werdet ihr in dem Interview erfahren. Und es würde mich freuen, wenn ihr uns Feedback gebt. Also, viel Spaß! Heute hört ihr wieder eine englische Folge, die ich aufgenommen habe auf dem MDM Analytics Event dieses Jahr im September in Denver. Zu Gast ist heute bei mir der Anthony Akin, seines Zeichens Marketingleiter von der Firma IBT aus Kansas. Das ist eine Firma, die ist ziemlich ähnlich aufgestellt wie die unsrige, wie Ludwig Meister. Ähnliche Größe und auch ähnliches Produktsortiment. Warum ich viel gelernt habe bei meinen Besuchen bei IBT und wieso ich glaube, dass die eine gute Zukunft vor sich haben, werdet ihr in dem Interview erfahren. Und es würde mich freuen, wenn ihr uns Feedback gebt. Also, viel Spaß!
Okay, great. We're sitting here in Denver, Colorado, and we attended the MDM Analytics Summit. And to be honest, we had a long day. But I'm happy that you are here. And before I introduce you, maybe you can say a couple of sentences about you.
Anthony Akin. I work for IBT Industrial Solutions. We're a bearing and power transmission distributor in Kansas City, Kansas. We have 50 locations throughout the Midwest and roughly about 500 employees. My role there is Director of Marketing and E-commerce.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And if I understand right, IBT is still a family-owned business?
Yep. We are celebrating our 70th anniversary next year, so we're super excited that. We're in, similar to yourself, we're into a third generation as well of ownership and leadership. So we've been similar growth patterns that you've been showing as well. So I've been very positive.
The thing why we two are sitting here is that I visited your company I think in 2016 or 2015 the first time.
Okay.
And I've seen some interesting things, and maybe you can describe a little bit more in detail what the company is doing, probably which product lines, and what are your main focus customers.
Okay, yeah, definitely. From our side, my responsibility gets back into data is really kind of the heart of it. So we've really gone through, and that's when I initially took over marketing. One of the big push for us was to have a solid return on investment. And to be able to get there, I had to have data. So when we started opening up and looking at different parts of the business, we're really taking information from our CRM system, taking information in from our online analytic platforms, bringing all that different types of information into one place and trying to use that to help us make better decisions. So really, you start looking into customer segmentation, understanding what part of the process they're in. For us, we are a bearing and power transmission, so SKF, Baldor, Dodge are some of the key players there, and we represent just over 2,000 different manufacturers, and our customer base is roughly 6,000 to 7,000 annually. So we've got a lot of volume, a lot of dispersity. Probably the biggest industry for us is that probably 60% of our business is end user into a manufacturing facility.
As MRO?
Yes, MRO,
okay.
yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. MRO business. 20% is in a contract orientation, so that we're having a supply chain contract there. And then we have another 20% of our business that sits inside of an OEM business. So we're almost flipped from what you are. So we've got heavy MRO, and really, as a family-owned business in a big marketplace, we're kind of squeezed in the middle. We look at it as we have the Grangers, the Motion Industries, Applied Industrial on the one side, which is the big box players.
The 800-pound gorilla.
Yes, they are. And then on the flip side, you have the smaller local independents. And so we're really positioned in odd places where people look at IBT as big enough where they should have all the offerings and solution as the 800-pound gorilla.
Yeah. If you look at the offers the customers today need from you to be successful, what is the general services they expect from a distributor here?
We really we hone into product expertise. Really, we felt that we've been trying to reinforce our value proposition. It's a value proposition that the founders built 7 years ago. And we've tried to constantly remind our customers and our own sales team about that product expertise, knowing the product, knowing their applications better than themselves and then our competitors. Our competitors keep to be very transactional, and so it gets to be as we're looking for total cost of ownership. And so we're looking at engineering, we're looking at reconfiguring an OEM piece of equipment, trying to help them lower the cost, streamline the supply chain as much as possible.
And how can you, as a marketing and e-commerce perspective, support your sales teams in the area of technical expertise?
Yeah, we've got a large kind of presence right now in sales enablement. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the big things that we were talking through and looking at how to solve that problem. Really trying to get to where we can have product information, engineering information, calculators, tools for our sales team all at their fingertips on an iPhone or on a smartphone, and then on a tablet environment.
Can you also use these data directly at the customer, or is it mainly for internal education?
Right now, Max, it's mostly internal. We've talked about opening that data layer up to our customers as well, and having. We haven't really decided if that's a service that we're going to be charging, or is that something that we're going to hopefully use that to give away as be part of doing business with us. And so, instant would be sign a contract on this product category, and we'll provide the knowledge and expertise and all this research information on the backside.
Mm-hmm. If you look at the customers, do you also make online courses or courses in your premises and teach the customers?
We do both. We have a department within the organization who does complete training, and so for that is we do it at this point in time. We don't have an online solution for that, but every bit of it's in person or in plant. Mm-hmm. And so we host regional training seminars. And so we'll bring in 30 to 40 customers into a marketplace. We'll have a trainer that'll be there for a day and a half to 2 days, working with them to understand really their application and really the product itself. And then we host the same kind of, if the facility is large enough, we can actually host that same environment right there at their plant.
Mm-hmm. If I remember right, you have some kind of a television studio, or at least a production studio.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about it? Because then we get the loop. Probably this is a chance again.
No, it's really exciting and really interesting. Is that we were one of the first video production shops inside of Kansas City to be shooting in HD.
NHD means
high def.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And so we're dating back many, many years ago. But as part of that, we initially set up a training department to do all internal training. And so we started recording our trainings and sending it out to all of our branch locations throughout the Midwest United States. And quickly into that, we started doing production films and doing a lot of internal training documents for customers and our manufacturers. Manufacturers were coming to us and saying, hey, we need to do a training program. Can you actually come in and record that for us? and which has led us into shooting for Oprah Winfrey, Martin Marbles, the History Channel, a lot of these big national publications that we're actually doing the shooting when they come into the Midwest.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, we're at a place that we're overhauling that whole piece of business right now. And we've probably 3 years ago sunsetted that whole department, and with the rise of video and the interest of it, we're actually bringing it back. And so we're going to be doing a lot of, and the major reason is to capture a lot of that knowledge from our existing internal salespeople, and to use it as a place to capture that knowledge. We're like a mini organizations that we have a very, very rich history and tenure, and so we have people who've been working for the company for 20 plus years.
Yeah,
and they're coming up to that retirement age, and we've got to figure out a way to try to capture that information.
Okay, yeah. So actually, the ambulance is passing by, but I think they'll be gone soon. So this is one thing that you will improve in future. Mm-hmm. What I think, or when you look at the conference, today and yesterday, there were the focus of video and education with video was a big focus. Mm-hmm. So I think for the future, this is a chance to really make a closer connection to the customers also.
Yes. I think that video is much more personal than reading a piece of paper or reading something online. And so you can actually put a face to that and have some emotional connection back to a video instead of just reading a blank piece or reading a piece of paper.
Okay, so maybe I want to stay in the loop about mm-hmm. the information what you're planning here, because I think it's interesting. We are doing no webinars until today for our customers, okay. But I think on the long run maybe it will be interesting because it's easier to watch half an hour or 20 minutes than mm-hmm. traveling to a plant or to a branch for one day. So this could be a chance.
Do you see that translating to your audience of customers?
You mean translating language-wise?
Well, not translating, just the online training instead of being in person, touching and feeling and interacting with the product that's out there.
I think it has to be personal, with persons really doing it, mounting, demounting bearings, just showing the technical skills and because as you said, it's personal, and if I want the customers that really take advantage out of mm-hmm. it, then probably it has to be personal. One other topic, if you look at all the Internet of Things applications,
yes,
do you see any important developments in matter of supply chain management at the moment?
I think the whole industry is really excited about Internet of Things and what it means. And I think that we're really at the ground floor, that we have a growing number of our manufacturers are producing and building equipment who have sensors on them. And so you're going to walk into a manufacturing facility and you're going to have sensors everywhere and none of them hardly talking. And you have all these different disparate systems.
Do you have suppliers where you already are in discussions about trying an approach together?
We have relationships, and we've talked as the SKFs and Scheffler and a couple of the other Dodge, Rexnord that we've worked with, and actually we implement their programs for them. Mm-hmm. But what we find is at some of these facilities that you're going to have multiple different platforms out there, and trying to centralize all that information, actually be talking to each other. And then there's the big question of who owns that data now. Does the manufacturer who's broadcasting, or does it the customer? Mm-hmm. And where does that information reside?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest structural problem, that you will have certain different islands and mm-hmm. Nobody is able to really connect it. Yeah. And until today, I haven't really seen a good solution. But to be honest, I'm not a professional in that area, but I'm interested in what's mm-hmm. reading, watching, and
Well, there's not a common language there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's every manufacturer has their own program, and there's no common API between them at this point in time, or governance to how they're talking. And so if somebody's going to be out there, I mean, there has to be other people thinking the same thing of how do they centralize that, because what that leads to for us, I mean, as a distributor or as a manufacturer, we can be seeing that firsthand information where a bearing's about to be failing.
Yeah.
And then it's you're triggering your supply chain. Okay, I need to make sure to have a part ready for them.
And you don't have to have condition monitoring in a very high sophisticated way. Sometimes it's only the temperature, and you have a couple of things you have to watch the development. If it's getting higher, lower pressure, temperature, and things like this. I think on the long run it's interesting for many production facilities. Probably there will be a central system, but until today I haven't. I didn't find a good solution. So
yeah, and we've investigated and we've even talked from a perspective that trying to find somebody who's out there and developing something, but at this point in time, it's going to be an arms race to who can get it first.
yeah.
And so we're really intrigued to see the different platforms that are going to be coming out there and how they all talk to each other.
Yeah, so interesting topic where it's important, I think, to stay on track and be always updated. Until today, I didn't find a big or a good solution, but probably in 6 months from now, there is an interesting opportunity. I have one last topic. You were mentioning that you have 50 branches about. In which area?
We're central in our corporate headquarters in Kansas City. And so that's Kansas, and then we have Missouri, we have Oklahoma, we have Arkansas, we have Texas, we have Arizona, we have Tennessee, we have Illinois, we have, who am I missing? Nebraska,
Okay,
and Iowa.
Okay, so that's a big local spread.
Yes, it's the heart of the United States.
Yeah. Do you see any differences in the needs of the customers in different areas?
I'm not going to say the different needs. What I've seen, and for us, is our branches that are highly successful are in smaller to mid-sized marketplaces. Our more profitable and more successful locations are in those smaller communities where relationships still matter.
So the personal relationship.
Yep. And so our sales team and our people are just the fabric of the community. And so it's still a big relationship, and pricing is part of it, but it's not the only thing. And when we walk into some of the big cities, it becomes very heavily commoditized.
So you take this into consideration when you think about value proposition. So you say in the smaller markets, you have teams with people that connect, that are happy to invest the time, even sometimes Friday evening or...
That's a great observation. I mean, I'm not sure how much of that goes into our hiring process, but it definitely could be something that we'll be thinking through as we go through there. We've stayed pretty standard with our value proposition because we've been very diligent and trying to stay true to that, because we feel that we're becoming in a heavily commoditized marketplace with more and more competitors everywhere, online and offline. And as within that, we feel that's one of the things that we have in our favor is to make those connections and then to be able to help people walk through problems. And when a lot of our competitors are not willing to spend the time, so we have a higher touch sales process than most of our competitors.
I think in the modern world, this is one approach that is still successful. It's the same with us. What we see is, if you look at a total a portfolio of probably 2.5 million SKUs, you have the problem that it's difficult to be a product specialist for big parts. And our customers want to have people that are technical experts that really can help them to improve the machine or construction. So I think this is a stretch, but for all the distributors that can offer that service, I think it's a chance also in future.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to your initial one of your questions earlier is how do you enable a salesperson to know that breadth of product? I mean, when you're talking about 2 million SKUs, how many different product categories?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a couple of hundreds, but it goes down to probably 100 main product groups. But this is crazy. You cannot be a specialist in 100 product groups. It doesn't work.
Not at all.
Okay, maybe one last thing to wrap up.
Yeah.
What trends do you see in the partnership with the customers? If you look 5 years into the future, what picture do you see?
I think that we're the IBTs of the world and your smaller players, that we have to become more integrated to our customers, to get working to try to make, you've made a comment on the frictionless transaction. And so it's making that purchase, making that transaction as seamless as possible all the way through. And for me, that means getting all the way up into their planning and their design, and working with their management team to see what you can do to eliminate, honestly, lean out the process and become a value-added partner there as part of their supply chain, almost an extension of their supply chain. So I see integration is going to be a big part of that. With technology, it's going to be with people.
When you talk about integration into the supply chain, you serve OCI and...
We do OCI, we've got Ariba is a big one in our marketplace. We have punch-out systems for, SAP, PeopleSoft, eRequester, so all the major players in the marketplace.
What is the important, or what is the size of the business? Can you tell in total?
Right now, that is roughly 15% of our total volume.
Okay.
So it's a sizable portion.
It's important.
It's very important. And to extend that, you have EDI in there as well. And it's interesting is trying to, that EDI transaction, the punch-out transaction, really becomes around how technology advanced your customer is.
This is one question. Is EDI, OCI, or punch-out, is it more a pull from the customer, or is it a push from you?
All pull.
All pull, okay. Mainly pull.
Mainly pull. We use punch-out in an interesting vehicle. Is we have multiple storerooms that we manage, and because of the multiple storerooms we manage, our storeroom clerks will walk through, build out a request, and inside of that request, they will put it inside of our e-commerce platform. And so our punch-out environment, they will actually access it through their buying portal, or like their e-procurement portal, to make a request, and they will actually go fetch all that information from our system and then have it round trip and send us the order. And so they're essentially as our team is building out the line items, so it may be 100 line item quote, and taking basically the order entry and the keystroking away from the attendant. Okay,
yeah, maybe it's too long for today, but when we meet the next time, I want to discuss with you about the advantages and disadvantages of EDI and punch-out, what it means for you, what it means for the quality of data at the customer and at the distributor, and this could be, I think, interesting discussion.
In the EDI conversations between the two different organizations, you have a higher level of OEM business than we do.
Right.
And I would tend to suspect OEMs have capabilities and Kanban schedules to build and release from.
Yeah. We have this also with MRO customers, but the process is very long because you have to get all the pricing right. And an EDI order with the more wrong price is not a real EDI order because you have to touch it manually, you have to look, you have to call. So there's a lot of master data homework to do.
Yes.
So sometimes I think that's the advantage of an OCI catalog, because you have the leading system, they're looking and then they're putting it into their system. But on the other hand, with EDI, you can also have a very frictionless, fast process with only work in your system. But maybe we should keep this for the next conversation. I don't know where it will happen. So
maybe your place?
Yeah, actually, you're invited. And give my greetings to Jeff.
I will do.
Whenever you plan a trip to Europe or Germany, please stop over.
We will come see you.
Okay, great having you. Thank you for the time. And I think now we can enjoy at least one beer at the bar.
Hey, I appreciate the invite and enjoyed the conversation as always. It's always been very stimulating. So just a lot of new ideas and thoughts as we sit here and talk through what could help lead our business to accelerate it. So appreciate it.
Okay, perfect.